Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka done. I'd like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp, betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. They're an online therapy company. They are international. So if you are anywhere in the world and you need to get to a therapist, go to betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez, fill out a questionnaire, and they will set you up with a licensed master's level or PhD level therapist in your neighborhood, or in the US of A. So there we go. Because you can see them all over the world, and they do chatting, which is really helpful if you cannot talk out loud. Sometimes it helps to do the chatting. So there that is. Okay, let's dive into the questions. Let's see. I have a hard time with silence or peace. What do I do? Okay, well, again, this goes back to what we were talking about on Sunday. When we have a family of origin that is constant drama, constant chaos, that becomes our norm. And so when we come out of it, it feels uncomfortable to have peace or quiet or serenity or anything like that. So if you're having a hard time with just sitting with the peace and quiet, sometimes when I work with clients and I will, ask a question, or they'll say something, and I'll be collecting my thoughts to, ask them another question or, address whatever they just said. And if that silence goes on for too long with them, they get freaked out. And then, of course, that opens up the discussion of, what is it about the silence that scares you? So it's usually a fear. And unfortunately, in abusive families, silence usually was deadly. Silence usually meant that the abuser was concocting some punishment or trying to find a reason to, abuse or whatever. So we learned quickly that silence is not safe. And also it is uncomfortable because we never had it. It's like it was very rare that we would get peace and quiet. So if you're having a hard time with silence or peace, it's going to benefit you, I think, to do DBT, dialectic behavioral therapy. Not because you have a personality disorder, because it's all about mindfulness. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What is the fear? What's driving that uncomfortableness about the silence? Sometimes for us, it's because our thinking is distorted and we don't like what we hear. So we need to, fill it up with a whole bunch of stuff so that we're not listening to the tapes that got shoved into our head from our abusers. So it would be really good to get with a good trauma therapist, a DBT therapist. That would be really good. Get the books I recommend: CPTSD, From Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker, The Disease to Please, Harriet Breaker, The Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. All of these will help you because they all build off of each other. And once you really have that basis of self-esteem, you're working on not being codependent, you're understanding the CPTSD that you went through, it helps you start appreciating the thoughts that you are having because they're healthier, and you're kinder to yourself, and the peace and the quiet and the serenity suddenly become normal. So, but get with a good trauma therapist to start working on that. The other thing you can do too, there's other things that you can do to work on that separate from a therapist. You can keep a journal. You can attempt meditation and see what thoughts pop up. What thoughts are popping up? What's stopping you from enjoying the peace and quiet? What's stopping you from enjoying the present moment? So it's really a good idea to get into a meditation practice. It really is, just for so many reasons. This world is so chaotic in and of itself. Being able to stop, being able to take a breath, being able to just observe. It's like, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? Where is this coming from? What do I need to work on here? Ooh, whose thought really is this? Is this my thought, or does this belong to somebody else? Those are all good ways to start getting into the habit of serenity, peace, quiet, calm. And thought tracking helps because then it kind of lets you know, oh, I'm feeling anxious because I've been telling myself X, Y, and Z. And we're not even aware of it. It's like this running dialogue in the back of our head that's either the internal critic, which is all negative, or the internal panic button, which is all panic, you know. So you want to figure out what you've been saying to yourself. Where did this come from? Whose thought is this? This is not yours. You know, and then replacing it with, I'm safe. I'm okay. I do like myself. I am a good person. It's okay. I am enough. You know, that kind of thing. So, yeah, those are some of the things that you can do to start helping you get used to peace and quiet and serenity and no chaos, no drama. The other thing, too, is that when you recognize somebody is doing the chaos and the drama, don't participate. I know it feels familiar. I know they're asking you to get involved in it. You don't have to. Don't participate. Say no. And that's why self-esteem and boundaries are hugely important, so that you can say no to those people that are creating chaos and drama. Okay. Good follow-up question. I don't understand what self-esteem has to do with being able to enjoy peace and quiet. So, self-esteem has everything to do with being able to enjoy peace and quiet, because when we like what we say to ourselves, we don't mind being alone, because we have this friend, us, that says nice things and comforting things and encouraging things and helpful things. If we have low to no self-esteem and that internal critic is running the show, and it's constantly not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. Why did you say it? You're so stupid, blah, 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 blah. All these nasty things, right? Or what if, driving us crazy. No wonder you don't like being alone. No wonder you don't like, peace and quiet, because that's what you're hearing. When you're working on the self-esteem workbook, which I happen to have right here. Here it is. The Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. There's a section on what are your automatic thoughts? What are you thinking throughout the day? What are you telling yourself on a daily, hourly, minutely basis? And can you replace those negative thoughts with supportive thoughts that are kind, that are the inner parent that you needed, that you didn't get? So this is where self-esteem and reparenting really come into play. So when we've got that negative inner critic that's just nasty, it's just, vile and just spewing all sorts of horrible things, you want to be able to start reparenting yourself, because that little inner child is listening to all of this and believing it. That's why you don't like the peace and quiet. Does that make sense? So self-esteem is huge, and reparenting yourself is huge, and that is all part of self-esteem. Because when you start doing the mirror work and you're looking in your own eyes and you're saying, hi, good to see you. Have a great day. I give you permission to enjoy the silence. And then walk out. It's like adult you is reparenting inner child you and giving you permission to enjoy the good stuff. A lot of parents, and we talked about this on Sunday, one of the questions was they seem to be negative. So a lot of the parents will punish if good stuff happens. A lot of the parents will take away good stuff. So we learn to take it away from ourselves so nobody else can. So you've got to learn it's okay to have good stuff. It's okay to like yourself. It's okay to say nice things to you. It's okay. In fact, it's needed. It's necessary. So self-esteem has to do with enjoying peace and silence, because pretty soon you're going to like what you hear. And you're not going to want to be distracted, because then you can hear it clearly. Like, hey, I like you. Hey, good job. I like the peace and quiet. I like myself. This is nice. Do you see where I'm going with that? And if you're constantly looking for distractions, you're not going to hear the good stuff. Now, the reason we distract ourselves is because of all the bad stuff, the not good enough, the you're stupid, the blah, 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 what if. So you want to keep confronting those negative thoughts that are not even yours. Thank you for that negative thought. Shut the bleep up. Why? Because you say so. You're the boss. You are the boss of this thought. This thought is not the boss of you. And you replace it immediately with the polar opposite. So if it does the whole not good enough, you're so stupid, why did you say that, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for your input. Shut the bleep up. Why? Because I say so. I am good enough. I am smart, and I don't need to prove myself to you or anybody else. Go pound sand. And you keep replacing every single time that thought pops up. Because it's not yours. Who told you that? Who told you you weren't enough? Who told you that? You know, it's something that somebody told us. We don't pop out of the womb going, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. We don't. Somebody has to teach us that we're not good enough. So whose thought is that? That's what you want to identify, and then you want to replace it with the polar opposite, and you want to enjoy telling yourself good stuff. Mirror work, daily. Hi, good to see you. Have a great day. I give you permission to like yourself. And then walk out. At night, do the same thing. Hi, good to see you again. Here are 3 things you did right. And then you list off 3 things you did right. Kind of like a parent would recount to the kid what they've done right that day. Because abusive parents don't do that. They don't ever focus on anything that's positive or kind or good or encouraging or anything else. So you have to become your own best friend. You have to become your own best parent. So that is what self-esteem has to do with being able to enjoy peace and quiet. Because once you calm down the internal critic, you're able to hear the good stuff. And you don't mind the peace and quiet because it's nice. It's kind. It's encouraging. And sometimes it is just peace and quiet. There's nothing. You know, if you can get to the point where there's literally nothing, that's fantastic. So, yeah, so there is that. I feel I am worthless if I'm not in a relationship. If my partner is busy, I have to surround myself with friends or distractions. What is going on? Okay, well, this is what's going on. So, 2 things. People mistake self-esteem for external esteem. So being with someone makes us feel good sometimes if they're not abusive, but that's external. That's outside of us. It's not coming from in here. So if we're constantly having to be in a relationship, and if we feel worthless without a relationship, that means that you're getting your self-esteem from an external source, and it's a house of cards. So basically, when we do that, when we look at somebody to be the person that, you know, oh, I need to be with them because they're gonna bolster me up and they're gonna make me feel good. Well, if this person goes away, you feel worthless again. And then you get immediately with somebody else. Okay, they're gonna bolster me up. They're gonna bolster me up, and then they go away, and you feel worthless again. Ouch. That is not healthy. So, a healthy relationship is, and what's worse is if you have 2 people doing this, you know. So leaning on someone to bolster yourself up is external esteem. That's not self-esteem. That's coming from outside of you. And if that person goes away and you feel like crap and you have no worth, wow, no. You have worth. You have worth. You just don't see it yet. So again, self-esteem workbook. Lynn Schiraldi, get it, work it. Really good. It really does help. And you must go slowly, and you must not rush through, and you must not skip to the end. It's like, no, take your time. Go slowly through the workbook. It's going to help you because in one of the chapters it talks about you have worth. You have value. You are a valuable person. You have worth right here, right now, doing absolutely nothing. Not producing, not being a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you know, not dating. No, you have worth, separate from all of that. And it's important to find yourself within that self-esteem, not the external esteem. So when we distract ourselves, when our partner is busy, again, that means we've got a bunch of thoughts up here that are not nice, that are not kind, that are not supportive, that are not helpful, that are not, you know, useful. And we've got to, I got to surround myself with friends. I got to have a distraction. I got to be over here. I got to, look at this. I'm going to get involved over here. No. Go inwards. Go inwards. The only way out is through. You've got to go through all of those thoughts. Where did they come from? Who gave them to you? Because whoever did lied to you. So abusers love to tell their kids that they're worthless unless they're doing something or producing something or in a relationship or whatever. No, that's not true. You have worth right here, right now. And that's a hard one for a lot of survivors of abuse to get because they've been told from day one that they were worthless. And you've got to understand, abusers project. When an abuser attacks a child verbally and tells them things like, "Oh, you're worthless and you're lazy and you're that and you guns." Oh my God, they are talking about themselves. There may be 2 fingers pointed out, but there are 6 fingers pointed right back at the abuser. So you really want to take a look at where did you get those messages from? Consider the source, right? And then write and burn angry letters. No, that is not who I am. That's who you were. You know what I'm saying? So being in a relationship, I strongly recommend that if you get out of an abusive relationship, be single for a while, at least a minimum of a year, because you've got to rebuild your sense of self. You've got to rebuild, maybe for the first time, you've got to build that sense of certainty. You've got to work on the mistaken thoughts, the mistaken beliefs, the inner critic. You've got to re-raise that inner child. There's lots of stuff to do. So it cracks me up when people come out of an abusive relationship. They start working on themselves. Then they start dealing with the core issue, which is family of origin, obviously. And they're like, "Oh, I need to be in a relationship." No, madam. No, sir, you do not. You need to be in a relationship with you. If you don't know who you are, if you don't have a good sense of self, narcissists, psychopaths, narcopaths, whatever you want to call them, dark triads, abusers, are only too happy to march in and tell you who you are and take you away from you. So no, you need to know who you are. Work on yourself. Stay single for at least a year. Work on the self-esteem. Like seriously, work on the self-esteem. Work on the disease to please. Work on the codependency. Work on the mistaken thoughts, the mistaken beliefs. Work on understanding that you have worth, that you do. And it's okay for you to like you. It's okay. So these are all really important things to work on. And abusers love to create distractions. So oftentimes that's a learned behavior. So we'll see abusers like go through people like water, and so we think that's normal. We think, oh, well, he got rid of one, I need to get another. No, you need to be alone. You need to figure out who you are, what you like. What do you like? What do you want to do? What's important to you? Where do you want to go? So, yeah, and this is all connected to self-esteem, because people who love themselves like spending time alone with themselves. And then being in a relationship then becomes a conscious choice. As opposed to, I have to be in a relationship. I have to have this person. No, you want it to be like slipping on a nice, comfortable pair of slippers. Fuzzy, warm, comfortable, and a total choice. Not because I have to. Because I want to, and I don't need it. If you need it, that's the wrong time to get involved in a relationship. So, anyway, I hope that answered all the questions. I was going to say I have a list of what I am talking about. Where am I? Hold on. Getting to my mail here so I can find it. Hello. All right. March shows. There we go. Okay, April shows. Here we go. Okay. Crushing. No, that's June. Good Lord, I don't want June. I want April. Hold on. So, April shows. Let's see what we got. Examples of control. So, examples of hoovering, examples of control. So that's what we're going to be talking about on April 2nd. So examples of control, examples of hoovering. So that was kind of a question for people. It's like, well, how does that look? How do they do control games? What should I be looking for? Etc., etc., etc. So that will be April 2nd, examples of control. So there that is. All right, my loves, I hope this answered your questions, and I will talk to you again on April 2nd. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's going to be April already. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. Have a great week. Bye.